Have you ever been caught in a situation whereby you had to choose between telling the hard truth, which wasn't pleasant, or opting to remain silent? Or have you ever been caught in a situation whereby the truth was bad news and now silence felt much better? Well, in this episode, we're going to discuss about this vice of keeping silence, because this vice actually is hurting our relationship with others. And not only are we going to talk about the vice itself, we're going to talk about its causes, and also I'll give you some of the solutions which I feel, if you implement, will help us overcome this vice. So, from the streets of Africa to the screens of the world, this is the ENVILA Show, and I'm your host, OJ Mwenyewe. So, in our today's episode, we call it the high cost of silence. And I'd like to emphasize this. In this episode, it's not more of a lecture, it's more of a soul reflection, whereby Amira, because both of us, you and me, I believe we have been guilty of keeping silence when we needed to talk. Keeping silence because when we needed really to talk, we opted to keep silence instead of telling the truth because we had we had certain reasons. So the first reasons, they're usually people who opt to keep silence. It's because the situation has led us to a certain level. So we use our whatever our factory setting. Let me use that word factory setting, whereby those things which we did in the past, which we have seen that have worked, we use them when situations don't go as we want. Let me give you a scenario. This is the scenario whereby you are told to go. You had promised somebody, your client, that I'm going to get you these goods by 3 p.m. Okay, now you've gone to the stores. The supplier has told you that these goods are not available until next week. So now you're torn between, do I tell the client that I won't be able to deliver the goods, or do I keep quiet and hope I'll get the goods somewhere else, or the supplier will somehow manage to get the goods and deliver them in time? Now, some of the reason why some of us take silent, because the usual reasons. Some of the reasons whereby we keep silence, one of them is because we fear disappointing others. This is whereby the person who maybe you have to deliver the goods, you have that fear that if I say this, I'll look unreliable. If I tell them that the goods which you are told you had sent me, I can't deliver them because of this and that, they will feel that I'm reliable. So we fear disappointing others. Another reason why some people opt to remain silent is because they are they they the wanting anything. You want to avoid confrontation. You want to vanish. You feel like vanishing is much easier because you feel like if should I go to person A and tell him or her that I can't deliver the goods, or you tell him or her the bad news, you fear that you avoid, you want to just you simply just want to avoid that bad situation. Another reason why people opt to remain silent is because somehow we are hoping for a miracle. You're hoping that because yeah, I was supposed to deliver the goods at 3 p.m. and the person in this store, the store where I'd gone, the goods are not there. I'm saying, maybe if I stick around, or if you're just waiting for a miraculous thing to happen so that the goods will appear, then you'll deliver them. So you're holding back the bad news. That's another reason. Another reason why I think some of us choose to remain silent is because we are afraid to admit that we have failed. And there's that katam of shame. I'm afraid, "Wah, if I tell Nani that I can't come for dinner, which I'd promised, he or she'll look at me and say, I failed on this on my part." Then we have that shame. So that's another reason why we opt to remain silent. Another reason, this one is reason number 5, whereby we choose to remain silent instead of facing the hard truth, is because we we there are those who are perfectionism. These are people whereby let's say they wanted to communicate, I won't unless whatever they want to communicate or explain it perfectly, unless they've communicated or explained it perfectly, they won't say anything. You're getting, they are perfectionist in the sense that maybe I wanted to deliver this good by 3 p.m., but because 3 p.m. is not working, they just can't. They end at the perfectionism. They can't do it because it's not as what they had planned. The sixth thing why some people choose to remain silent is because of childhood conditioning. What do I mean by childhood conditioning? Childhood conditioning is whereby maybe when you are young, you saw somebody telling the truth, but after telling the truth, he or she got punished. So you have that, like, it's more of like a trauma. You have the, should I, if I tell the truth when I happen to deliver the items, I might get punished. So up to there, we have discussed about the high cost of silence. Silence, the high cost of silence. Some of the reasons why I feel you and I opt to take the easier road. For now, let's call it the easier road of keeping silence instead of telling the truth. Reason number 1, which I've given, is fear of disappointing others. 2 is avoiding confrontation. 3 is hoping for a miracle. Number 4 is shame. Number 5 is perfectionism. And number 6 is childhood conditioning. So we're discussing the high cost of living. And up to this moment, I'd like to stress that this habit is amongst almost all of us. And we're discussing, it's not more of a lecture, it's about reflecting. Choosing to opting to remain silent is something, it occurs when, let's say, you have somebody's money. You had loaned him, he or she had given you some money. Now you're supposed to pay back in a certain day. You opt to remain silent because you haven't gotten the money, instead of just communicating. So the show is called the ENVILA Show. I'm your host OJ Mwenyewe, and today we're discussing the high cost of silence.